You're asleep, perhaps amid a very pleasant dream. Maybe you're scoring that winning goal at soccer practice, winning the lottery, or finally gathering the courage to ask out that girl or guy you've been long admiring. Whatever fantasy is playing through your mind, it's going very well. Then that dreaded alarm goes off. That obnoxious sound signals an abrupt end to your subconscious imagination, snatching your attention back to the waking world. You feel groggy, and it's super tempting to hit the snooze button and return to that restful state of sleep, even if only for an extra 5 more minutes of bliss. Because let's face it, many of us would prefer not to wake up super early in the morning if we can help it, especially if you've got a case of the Mondays. Yet, being an early morning riser might be better for you overall. Why? Amongst those who regularly wake up at 5 or 5:30 in the morning, most probably do it out of obligation, not because they actually enjoy doing it. If, however, you're one of those people who are super motivated and like waking up at the crack of dawn to work out, view the sunrise, or surf some waves on the beach before it gets overly crowded, then we applaud you for your efforts. If you can also do this without the use of caffeine, then that is even more impressive. There are a lot of obvious advantages to waking up early, such as snagging a spot first in line at your local coffee shop, getting a head start on work to impress your boss, and defeating that annoying morning rush hour traffic, just to name a few. Yet for many of us, sleeping in can feel oh so very tempting and satisfying too. But did you know that there are a lot of psychological implications associated with whether you wake up early or sleep in regularly? A great body of research suggests that being a night owl or staying up late while waking up late tends to be associated with heightened negative emotionality. By this, we mean an increase of issues related to depression, anxiety, mood problems, and more. The results of a 2015 study by Seymour and colleagues found that regardless of age or gender, evening types, those who prefer evenings to mornings, were at an increased risk for experiencing mental health problems. This is not to say that a mental health disorder can be blamed exclusively on your chronotype, a fancy word for sleep schedule, but that is often correlated with more problems overall, such as increased stress. Keep in mind, however, that correlation does not imply causation, so an increased level of mental health problems in late-night routines can be attributable to a combination of many other factors, such as a night owl's typical pattern of behavior, daily habits, lifestyle, or social life when compared to that of a morning lark or an early bird. Nevertheless, negative psychological outcomes for the most part seem to be very often linked with sleeping in late. Interestingly, your chronotype may even have an influence on your frequency of experiencing nightmares. According to a 2010 study that analyzed this connection, findings suggested a strong association between more severe nightmares and evening-faring night owl bedtime routines. Why this seems to be the case is not yet fully understood, although there may be a pathological factor involved related to nightmares generally being associated with neuroticism and depression, symptoms that are more prevalent in night owls than in early birds. Those who regularly embark on the late-night chronotype also tend to experience a heightened frequency of insomnia. This may be due to your circadian rhythm, in that if your body assumes you can sleep in longer, it doesn't detect a need to fall asleep earlier, and so you find yourself lying awake later into the night. If you don't have a regular circadian rhythm at all and your sleep schedule fluctuates with no definable pattern, this can make it more difficult to fall asleep by a certain time when you need to. Thus, when the need arises, you may find yourself tossing and turning restlessly, groaning out of frustration. Perhaps you're kicking under your sheets, thinking, I have to wake up early to buy that last available chinchilla at the pet store before somebody else does, but I just can't sleep. When am I going to catch some Z's already? You're watching the clock as each hour ticks by and you're still awake. We've all been there. If, however, you steadily wake up at the same time every day with a regular routine, your body might be more willing to work with you, saying logically, okay, considering that we always get up at this time, we'd better get to sleep now if we're going to have enough energy to endure the next day. As a result, falling asleep becomes much easier. In this case, the early bird gets the worm, or the chinchilla. On a side note, it's worth mentioning that these adorable little rodents actually make for great pets, even if they do resemble chubby squirrels. Since the average waking time in the US is between 6 and 7:30 a.m., if you manage to wake up at 5 or 5:30 a.m., you'll have 1 to 2 hours of peaceful, uninterrupted time. You could go to a place that's usually crowded and see it while it's empty. Waking up this early is almost like having the world to yourself. This is the best time to be selfish and indulge in activities you wouldn't normally get to try. Ride a horse like a cowboy through the drive-thru at McDonald's. Dance through the empty streets like nobody's watching. Maybe even try skinny dipping. Okay, that last one may not be advisable if at a public pool or a lake where there may be children nearby on a family fishing excursion. So you should probably think about using proper judgment over where you choose to do this. Don't go stripping in your mom's backyard pond either, unless you want to risk exposing yourself to an awkward and embarrassing situation. This might be a little hard to explain if you wind up getting caught. If you're a dog person, early morning is also a great time to take your furry friend for a walk on the beach, since many places enforce strict rules and don't allow pets after a certain time. Do your homework on your local area and learn about some of your options. More than likely, your canine companion will really appreciate it. Successful people also tend to wake up early. These include the likes of Benjamin Franklin, Howard Schultz, Grant Cardone, Richard Branson, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and Tim Cook, just to name a few. If you want to follow in the footsteps of any of these individuals, this is one way to do it. Waking up around 5 a.m. also cultivates a habit of discipline, which may flow into other areas of your life. This will also help you build confidence in your own sense of willpower and control, potentially increasing your self-esteem. After all, if you can get up from your warm bed while it's still dark out, especially if it's rainy and cold outside, then congratulations, you're tough as nails. Being an early bird also has the potential to make you less stressed, the reason being that you may feel freer to go to sleep while knowing that you can figure out a problem or situation when you wake up early. This way, you're not keeping yourself up at night worrying about what you should do the next day. Instead, you're tackling your issue head-on by dealing with it before the rest of the country rises. So if you've decided that you want to start waking up earlier, you might now be wondering, how the bleep am I going to wake up at 5:30 a.m.? It's one thing to think, I'm going to get up early tomorrow and be productive when you're currently wide awake, but it's a completely different thing to resist giving in to your overwhelming desire to fall back asleep the following morning. It can be tough even if you have a strong incentive, such as, if I get up now, I can watch one of my steamy guilty pleasures on the living room TV while my roommates are still asleep. But I also really want to go back to sleep, so I think I'll do the latter. If you're like a lot of people, forcing yourself to climb out of your warm, cozy bed can require a lot of motivation. After all, why would you want to get up when you're encased in a blanket cocoon of pure bliss? There are two different ways to achieve a routine of waking up at 5:30 a.m. every day. We should warn you that neither of these methods are pleasant. One way is to just experience one bad night. Simple, but really hard. This involves going to bed at the time you normally do, however late this may be, and then waking up no matter what by 5:30 a.m. When you do this, be sure to eat breakfast as soon as you get up, because your body tends to associate eating with its own separate waking schedule. Be prepared to run on adrenaline for the rest of the day, and don't give in to the temptation to take a nap. By 9 p.m., you should feel ready to collapse into bed, and then from there, you should be able to wake up at 5:30 a.m. the next day. The second way to do this is more gradual and involves progressively setting your alarm 30 minutes earlier each morning until you reach the 5:30 a.m. mark. If you're a night owl and that works for you, then that's great. Not everyone who stays up late and sleeps in experiences negative effects from it. There's no reason to change your sleep pattern if you're content with your lifestyle and comfortable with your current routine. Everyone is different, and what works well for others may not necessarily work best for you. Our chronotypes remain mostly stable throughout our lifetime, but do have the propensity to change with our age. A site called thesleepdoctor.com explains this by stating, most of us are wolves in young adulthood, many of us become bears in middle age, and quite a few of us shift to lions as we get older. Interpret this however you want, but for the most part, it is said that our circadian rhythms tend to shift to an earlier sleep cycle as we grow older. So you may just end up waking up earlier with time anyway. No added effort required. If you want to try getting up earlier to feel more productive, then that is a great goal. Above all, however, just remember to do what's comfortable for you and try not to push your body too hard if you don't have to. Do you prefer waking up early, or is sleeping in just too tempting for you? Let us know in the comments. Also, be sure to check out our other video. I slept 3 hours a day for a week, and this is what happened. Thanks for watching, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.